Welcome to 48 Avenue. Over the past several years, I have been encouraged by watching Dawn from The Minimal Mom share processes for decluttering our homes. In this video, I'm going to share some of my favorite tips from The Minimal Mom's channel. I hope these tips will be an encouragement for you too if you are looking to simplify your home. Tip number 1 is to view the items in your house as inventory. Then consider that if your home is simply very hard to keep up with, it could be because you have too much inventory. I think the reason that this tip is so helpful for me is because it is a mindset shift. It helps me to take a step back and view the items in my home not so much as possessions that I can't declutter or get rid of, but rather as inventory, much like inventory in a store. A store can't function properly if it never moves out some of its inventory. Likewise, our homes don't function well if we keep everything that comes in. Now, of course, we do all have some items that we view as more sentimental, and that we may have trouble viewing as solely inventory. So that is where tip 2 comes in very handy. Tip number 2 is to have a memory bin for each person in your family. This is a place where you can curate items that are really meaningful or have significant sentimental value. This allows for each person in the home to have a designated space for keepsakes, and it also helps to really narrow down the things that are most valuable to us. Tip number 3 is to have a time will tell bin. This is a great tip for decluttering items that you just aren't sure if you will need in the future, or items that you aren't sure if you are ready to get rid of. To implement this tip, you can take a box and label it "Time Will Tell" and include a date on the box. Then you can place the items inside that you are not sure if you will need or that you may not want to keep. Place the box out of your regular day-to-day routine, maybe in a garage or attic space, and then come back to it 1 year later. If you haven't needed anything from the box after a year, then it is probably safe to take it straight to the donation center. Tip number 4 is to limit your clothing items. This is actually a tip from Project 333 that Dawn featured on her channel. The idea behind Project 333 is to limit the main clothing pieces in your wardrobe to 33 items. Even if you choose a different number other than 33, by keeping a limit on how many clothing items we keep, many of us may realize that we don't need as many clothing items as we think we need, and we tend to go back to the same pieces of clothing over and over anyways. Keeping our wardrobe simple can make it easier to get ready in the mornings and can help to reduce the clutter in our closets and dressers. Tip number 5 is to declutter and simplify toys. This is a huge item for many families. It is so important for children to have time to play each day, as this is one of the ways children learn. Toys can be a blessing. However, having too many toys that get taken out at the same time may cause children to be overwhelmed and not actually play with their toys for as long as they might otherwise play. One tip that I have found helpful is to move some of the toys in our home to clear bags or bins in our attic. This can help to simplify the number of toys in our day-to-day living space. However, if one of my children asks for a toy that is not in our general living space, I can get it for them from the attic and they can still play with it. You can use this strategy kind of like a time will tell bin, but with toys. Before I continue sharing more tips, I want to take a brief moment to tell you about our free ebook, 27 Tips for a Decluttered and Tidy Home, available when you sign up for our free newsletter. This can be a great resource if you are wanting to simplify your home and make space for what matters most. It may also be a great resource if you have already simplified your home but want to be reminded of tips that will help you with tidying. I will include a link to it in the description. And now, back to the video. Tip number 6 is to use bins as drawers. We actually did this to organize our pantry as well as our laundry room. Grouping like items together in a bin or a basket or another type of container can potentially make it easier to get these items into and out of areas like cabinets, shelves, and pantries. You simply pull out the bin or basket, get what you need, and then place it back in the bin or basket when you are done. So in essence, you are creating a kind of drawer-like feature where there previously wasn't one. Tip number 7, use labels. I heard Dawn mention this tip in one of her videos as something that she was encouraged to do by another influencer, and it really does make such a difference. We use this tip in our laundry room when trying to organize this space. Now, anyone in our family that can read knows where to find something that is stored in one of these bins because they are labeled. And best of all, it is easy to know where to put things back. The labels are a constant visual reminder of what is in this space, and items are assigned a home. As a disclaimer, we do have to reorganize this space, and there are things in some of these bins that don't actually belong there. However, the labels are so helpful, and I highly recommend this tip. I hope each of these tips will be helpful for you in the process of simplifying your home. I encourage you to visit the Minimal Moms channel, and we'll be sure to include a link to her channel in the description. Also, be sure to check out the free ebook, 27 Tips for a Decluttered and Tidy Home. I will link it in the description as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already done so, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for future videos on faith, home, and simple living.